Let's get this vlog started. It is January 11. I'm getting kind of a late start today. I typically try to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do some personal work before I have to get my daughter ready for school. And today I woke up and was feeling like physically drained. So, mentally it's always difficult in the morning. But I've been doing some extra working out and stuff. And so I would rather not get sick. And, also I'm risking that this was just a waste of a morning. But I set a new alarm and went back to sleep. And that rest, I feel good now, so that's okay. The thing is, everything gets pushed back for a couple hours. So it's after lunch right now. Let me think. Right, so I talked before about the taxes and stuff and rectifying my accounts and stuff. Actually, this was the first month when there was no trouble with PayPal. There were no extra charges, or it's not that they're extra, they're just reported twice, or something's wrong, and there was nothing. And I was just I felt bad because I complained about it, and maybe it's fixed. I don't know, we'll see next month. There's another thing, which is like which usually doesn't matter, but at the end of the year it matters. I can't close out December on the credit card because my statement goes until the 24th, and I made payments, or I bought stuff after the 24th. So until that gets closed out on my credit card, I cannot do that closing out. It's not. I checked it and it looks right in my activity. There's no problem. It's just, I want to close that out and I can't. Also, I did all the forms that I needed to fill out. As an employer, there's a bunch of stuff that is due by the end of January or sometime in the middle of January, and I have a nice system, software system, that just does that all for me. So it's all payroll, taxes, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was easy. Just had to do it. Let's see, what else am I working on? I think I told you on Monday I was working on the setup, the technical recording setup for the conference, and that I had some box that wasn't working when I went to the theater to try it out. And then I needed to buy all this other stuff so I could try it and troubleshoot it, because I don't have an HDMI device like a monitor. I don't have a keyboard. Well, did I need a keyboard? I don't know. I just had a bunch of stuff that I didn't have. Somehow, I was talking to my friend last night. The last monitor I bought, before this one that just came, the last monitor I bought was probably a CRT in 2002. Since then, I haven't bought a monitor. And he thinks I'm crazy. Like, how did you live 15 years without buying a monitor? And, well, that's just the way I roll. I don't know. I'm not a gadget person. Like, you look in my closet, you don't find all sorts of old stuff. I use what I've got, and I wear it out, and then I just don't buy many computers, and like I was joking with him too. Like, I don't know, like I have never had to name the cable before. Like, the last cable I remember was VGA, and now like HDMI, what is that? And then he was talking about some other things. I don't even heard of that. Somehow I missed those. So it's just the way I am. I don't know. And so like I'm really bad sometimes. I'll buy something that was was current 10 years ago, and I'll be like, oh, that's the one I want. I heard that these are the best. And I'll go in there, and they can't find them anymore. And I'm like, but that's supposed to be the best one. And the salesperson is like, that was like 10 years ago. What are you talking about? And I'd just been dreaming about it for 10 years, and I never bought it. That's how I roll. I'm just not a gadget person. I like, when I'm a programmer, but I like the ideas part of it. I like that we're able to express ideas much more than I like let's tinker with this ops setup and get, some cool hardware. It does not interest me. Doesn't interest me. I don't know why. I feel like it should be like a watch. I don't care how a watch keeps time. The gears inside and stuff, it should just work. Okay, so that's enough of that. I'm also working on my personal homepage. I'm trying to brand myself as a functional programming expert. And I've got these two things. I've got purelyfunctional.tv, which is going to be a comprehensive closure training tutorial setup, right? It's going to have everything you're going to need to learn closure. And hopefully one day other languages, and we can get to that in a second. But I've got also Lispcast, which is basically my blog. I've been writing on lispcast.com for 10 years now, really. I think it was in 2007 that I started lispcast.com. And so that's me, right? So I am Lispcast, and then purelyfunctional.tv. I don't want it to be me, right? I'm there, and I'm an author on purelyfunctional.tv. But I want to make room on purelyfunctional.tv for other authors, and I just own it, right? And I'm also an author too. Okay, so it's kind of like I'm above and below it, so it's why it's confusing. And it's been a challenge branding-wise to do that, just to explain what the difference is. Because I also put Lispcast in some of the videos, like the logo at the beginning. I understand it's confusing, but it's a long-term thing, and I'm not that good at the branding, and it just requires people to realize, oh yeah, when I want this, I go here, and when I want that, I go there, and they start to get that. So I want purelyfunctional.tv to be, and the .tv, now I'm thinking it was wrong. I tried to get the .com, but it wasn't available. Anyway, that's in the past. It doesn't matter. I just want people to think, I want to learn closure. Boom, purelyfunctional.tv. That's what I want people to think. And then eventually, I want to learn functional programming. Boom, purelyfunctional.tv. Right? That's what I want. I've got a job interview in Haskell coming up. Boom, purelyfunctional.tv. Buy the Haskell course. Study it and be ready for your interview. That's what I want it to be. But lispcast.com, I want to be about me, my ideas, stuff that isn't practical, get to work and closure kind of stuff. It's more, I guess thought leadership kind of stuff. I really wanted to be part of this conversation that the industry is having. I want, we're going through a transition. You can see it. Object-oriented programming is dominant right now, but people are starting to realize that not only is it not, okay, so we went through this thing in the early 2000s where we realized, okay, we've been sold a bill of goods, It's not really going to solve all the problems we had, but it's still pretty good, and these systems work. And how do we make the most of it? And let's learn all this OO design stuff. But then I think now we're going through another transition, which is that this isn't good for everything. That functional programming has a lot to offer. And no one right now is the functional programming guy or girl. No one. I mean, I can't find anyone. No one has a good definition of functional programming. I have one. I just haven't written it up yet, but I have one. It's really good. It's better than all the ones out there, and you'll see when it comes out. So I want to be a speaker, a consultant, I'm a writer, and trainer. And so I want to put a site together that is that, right? And I think it's the right time for me right now to be more than just the guy who writes Lispcast and makes all those videos. Like I want to be part of the conversation, and I want to help these companies who are buying into functional programming. I want to help them thrive with it. I want to help them get a lot of value out of it. And so that's what this site is. Just a place to communicate that to everyone. I'm available to speak. I'm available to train. I'm available to consult. And I'm also writing all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, I could talk about the details of the work, but I find that it's very tedious putting these websites together. I'm a visual person, and so but I'm not good with the design part, and you know what I mean? I know what I want, but I can't make it, and so I'm judging everything I make, and it just isn't living up to my standards. And I mean, I get very frustrated. I get frustrated at the theme authors, right? Because they choose these photos that fit perfectly in their theme. And I don't have a photo like that. And so the theme looks great until you put your photo in. And then you're like, oh, the lighting is wrong. And so now I have to change all the colors on the theme and change the size and how it's and all of that. And I'm not good at it. I just see how sucky it is. So I mean, it's like I knew this interior designer, and he would say, you start with the rug. The rug determines everything else. Why? Because rugs are really hard to find. One that fits, one that is the thickness that you want. Everything else is easy. The rug is hard. So put the rug down first, and it's going to determine the colors of the room. It's going to determine where things can sit in the room, the working space you have to design. And I feel like that might be the way it is with photos. You get a photographer, you start with that. This is me, Chuck, you take a bunch of pictures. You look at them and you say, that's a good one for the homepage. And then you build it around that. That's what they do in magazines too. They spend way more time on the photos, and then they just kind of lay it out around the grid that the photo makes. Anyway, we're doing it backwards with the WordPress themes, where you buy the theme and then you try to put your photo in and it doesn't look right. So that's frustrating, and it's the kind of thing where someone would say, well, why don't you go find a designer to do it for you? And you know what? I would love to, except every designer I've ever talked to has not saved me time. Let me put it that way. Because I want this thing out soon, and I can pull the trigger, right, on something that doesn't, feel right to me on the homepage, because I trust my own instincts, but one instinct I have is that this other instinct, that it's not visually perfect, one instinct is telling me no one else sees that, right? No one else sees the problems that you see. And I've noticed that with my stuff before, where I come back a month later, I'm like, wow, this was pretty good. I didn't like it, but it's actually pretty good. And it's something that you have to get over as a creator, that the judgments that you have, all the stuff going on inside you while you're creating, is not. Most people don't care about those things. They care about the final experience that they're getting, and it has to satisfy some job that they have, right? So, like, I remember watching a movie the other day and thinking, oh, I wish I could, like, I know how much work went into this movie. Like, it's one of those movies so polished and so, like, everything is perfect. And you know that, like, it started from, like, getting the story down right, and then you write it and you get the dialogue right. And then you find a great cinematographer and good actors, and you explain to the actors exactly what's happening, and they understand, and they're building on it, and then you film it, and and it's all this work has to happen. And then, this scene didn't work right, let's redo it, let's try it this way, try it that way. And there's work and rework, and there's you go back, and in the editing room you're like, oh, we need to redo this scene, it just doesn't work with what we're cutting it with. But it needs to. This is an important scene. So you go back and you set up the set again, and you set up the lighting so it's the same, and you do all of that again. The rework. And it's tough, and it's hard to put your soul into it. And then finally, when it's done, you are satisfied. Yes, it took that much, and look at it. I would love to be working on something like that. I mean, I think so. I think I would. It looks satisfying to me. I make little things like, with my daughter, I was working with polymer clay, and it wasn't right. So I just squished it up and started again and did it again. And I used what I learned in the first time to make the second time better. That kind of thing. I love that. But that's, and so it gives you this really polished experience. But that's not really what people want in a tutorial. It's not. They want the knowledge in their heads. Right? And so if you spend all this time polishing the thing so your presentation is great, and so that everything is smooth, and you show exactly the concepts and nothing more, like it's just streamlined, and you don't say you put all that stuff in there and you redo it until it's perfect. You probably could have made 10 or 20 one take things, teaching what you know, not as polished, but it gets the job done. And then the person on the other end is waiting for you. That took a long time for me to learn. My first video was super polished. Second one, I even polished it even more. And it's just not what people want. I mean, they'll appreciate it, but at the end of the day, they're like, I want more. Where's the meat? They're not watching it. You make a 2-hour movie. Maybe now it's like an hour and a half. You make an hour and a half movie. Like, someone wants a big experience in that hour and a half because they only have an hour and a half. They want a big experience. They want something that moves them, goes through waves, and people aren't looking for that with content, like tutorial content. They're just not. All right, that's enough ranting and rambling for today. Thanks for coming by the new channel, PF.tv vlog. Please subscribe if you like listening to me rant. Please like and comment. I would love to answer your questions. And I'm enjoying it, so I'm coming back for more. All right, check you later.